Everybody who watches these videos, including me, watching me, is searching for a deeper perspective, a deeper meaning in life. You wouldn't be watching these videos if you were happy. By definition, you're disappointed. My entire life I've been studying, looking for the secret. Looking for the deep core. I studied many modalities. Then when I was about 30 years old, I discovered that Judaism was the essence of my secret modality, because I am Jewish. So it was only open to me because I have a Jewish spark, a Jewish soul. But keep searching, and so what do? You read, and then you want to study Kabbalah. You want to study Kabbalah for the same reason that Madonna wanted to study Kabbalah. Because she had everything else and she was unsatisfied, and she figured, well, maybe that's it. The secret. All of the psychologists and psychology and the philosophers, they knew the secret. The problem is, it drives you crazy. Nietzsche, you can't be better or smarter than Nietzsche. They took him away banging on his piano. That's why the societal, which we are all part of, because we're speaking English here. So anybody who hears this or understands it or recognizes that this is intelligent speech went to school. Everybody speaks, but this isn't like homebrew speech. I went to school. By definition, I sat in classrooms, sat in little chairs, 6 years old, had ants in my pants, but had to sit in chairs. I've said this before. But the reason I'm stating it all again is because this is really it. So I know all the secrets and the gematriot and the tie-ins of all the things in Judaism. And it's no good. Why? Because it's within the societal, which locked me in from the time that I started to go to school. And I locked in and locked my body and gave me a framework in my mind that I had to answer within a certain parameter and answer within the law framework and in the accepted framework of the accepted sexual and mental. And that's why even in Judaism they tell you, you're not supposed to study Kabbalah till you're 40 years old and you have a wife and 2 kids. The wife and 2 kids mean, by the way, a son and a daughter. It's the Yud of Yud Hey Vav Hey is the male. The Hey is the wife, the female. The Yud, the first Vav of Yud Hey Vav Hey, the Vav is the son, and the final Hey is the daughter. So when they tell you, don't study Kabbalah till you're 40 years old, and you've experienced this name, the Yud Hey Vav Hey name, and that sets you within the society. The first thing that sets you within the society is to learn the language itself, to study the thing, but they get you married off at 20 years old. And so once a man is married, by definition, he's within the social context. Has to support a wife. Wife has to have a house. They have to move out of their other house. Then once he has children, he's tied into the societal for minimum 20 years till the child moves out. So if he's 20, he's not 40, he's not till 40 anyway. And that's why 40 years old, Yud Hey Vav Hey. When that's embedded in you, tattooed into you, cemented into you, then it's okay to study Kabbalah. Well, then you start studying Kabbalah, and there's different things, and what does Kabbalah mean, the different levels of Kabbalah. And so, quite frankly, by the time you start to understand it, it's another 10 years. It's predicated on the 3 previous levels that you're allowed to take on. But it doesn't come like this, all of a sudden the secret, just because you say the word Kabbalah, doesn't appear. And so, let's say you're 50 years old. 50 years old, now you've been working and studying and having a family and living in the social structure. You're embedded in there, dude. And ma'am. You're embedded in. And then you start to realize that, yes, there is a secret, but my life is over. I've got the secret. I walked down the street just before this. I was going to do those street videos, but I'm not, because it's not polite to take people. You know, the camera on me is one thing, but the camera on the rest of the world and people walking by and being put on social media, it's not nice. And so I'll describe some. So everybody, the stores are open and people come out with packages. They've spent money. Money is the social medium of life. It's the money, the spending of money is the spending of the sexual sperm. And that's why in a man, the pockets are right next to the groin. And they buy objects and clothes, women clothes, objects, and go buy whatever food they desire. So now all of a sudden I've realized that the whole concept of money and objects and the societal and the structures and the apartments and the rents and the cars, that's what's holding you back. And in the past 15 years, the computers. And now, being influenced by social media. And if you are not depressed by all this, then you're not a Kabbalist. If you think this is what's leading you on to greater heights, and you're being manipulated like a puppet without strings, that's what you are now. A puppet being manipulated without strings because we have AI. We have robotics. You don't even know you're being you don't even know that you're a puppet. And the words that are coming out, they're not yours. Because I've always told you these words aren't mine. Now, I'm so weird. I think these words come from God. But I also think I'm the last of the Mohicans. See? Because I don't like this moneyed world. I think the moneyed world is what's holding us all back. The structure of the world is what's holding us all back. The classrooms, the getting of a PhD, the getting of a DDS, the getting of an MD, LLC, I don't even know the words for lawyer. Doctor, judge. And so these people have a vested interest within the society. So there's nothing. And people who write books, or people that have NGOs, or what's the word? Foundations. And so they perpetuate their own myths for the benefit of themselves, because there are jobs in the Cancer Research Foundation. And then they call you up and get you on that phony, we want to do good today, and we do such wonderful work, and cancer research. This is what keeps you from the real Kabbalah, because the real Kabbalah is actually within you, and everybody knows it. Hear this? Everybody knows it. It's their heart's desire that's in the lower pit of their stomach, at their hara point or yesod point, in the sexuality of the hips. Everybody knows their true desire. Everybody knows what blocks them. And so they construct the musculature around this as a blockage, so they don't feel the blockage, so they don't feel the pain. And that's what people do with drugs and liquor. They put themselves in a condition where they don't feel the pain, but they know the pain. They know what it really is. Because you're born with that. You're born with the true essence, and then immediately the structure keeps you from that true essence. So I've gotten to the true essence. Some of the videos that I've done the past few days are as deep as Kabbalah videos can be. They relate to an area of almost fetish. And when you take the fetish away from somebody, you take the real essence of the man away. I've been observing the news the past couple of days, and I see how, the society really gets on you about that. I don't want to say the names, but there's been some people with sexual kinds of things, and things that are against the societal in a certain way, in that way, and against the accepted in that way. Quite frankly, 50 years ago, this underage issue wasn't in existence. The underage issue was back then, 50 years ago, just say homosexuality in general wasn't accepted. And now it's accepted within the societal. And so they've changed it to the underage issue. In other words, that the child, they call them the child, the 12, the 14, the 15-year-old girl, isn't allowed to have her own expression because she's underage, not able to form her own thinking and thoughts. Is that true? Is that true from a feminine point of view or from a legal point of view? Is that true from an essence point of view or from a legal and a structural point of view to perpetuate the same type of society that we have now with laws? One of the things about Kabbalah is that you learn to get to the essence of the laws that are the halakha. You learn to get what's the essence behind them all. And in certain Kabbalists and Hasidus and the breaking of the law is the fulfillment of the law. The essence of the law is the thing that has to be broken. Otherwise, there's no Kabbalah. Just do the halakha. There's no Madonna. If you followed the halakha, Madonna is not permitted to study the Kabbalah. She's not Jewish, and she's a woman. It's not for her. So the breaking of the law is that's what people want to do, because the law is set up to keep you from yourself. The society does not want you to individualize, individuate, or whatever the word is, individuation. That's why the whole Jungian framework, they talk about individuation and this and that, and you have to go to a therapist to individualize. You have to do everything. You know what I mean? And the therapists for this and therapists for that. Massage therapists, psychotherapists, all types of things, because everybody's looking to get rid of the blockages, the armor, the body armor that's been accumulated over the years from their initial school experience. There's only this initial structural experience that keeps us there and virtually kills us. And when we wake up, when Rip Van Winkle wakes up, he recognizes he's been asleep for 20 years. And when you sleep for 20 years and you start when you're 40 years old, you're 60 years old, and you say, what the hell? Truth passed me by because I bought in with money to the societal a closet full of clothes, an apartment full of furniture. People laugh at the pyramids. Oh, they say, that's thousands of years ago when people got buried with their vests and stuffed cats. Oh, that's what your apartment is. And if you think you're gonna get the essence of Kabbalah the way you're going, you're not, and your life will be over. Or you'll be so old that you can't act on it. That's always the dream of the retirement. I had a wonderful cantor once, 40 years ago, and he used to dream of the Florida room. I didn't know what a Florida room was. It seems to be a thing like on a terrace, an enclosed terrace. He used to dream of going down to his Florida room. He talked about it for 5 years. The dream of the retirement. He never made it. Never made it down there. There was no Florida room for him. It's a dream. It's the dream of the Mashiach. Oh, we're in the footsteps of the Mashiach. The Mashiach's coming. It's a what do you call it? You know, it's a fantasy, and I've expressed this one before. That you know, it's always in the future. The Mashiach's coming, or even we're waiting for the Mashiach. And if we do that, it'll help the Mashiach come. There needs a complete transvaluation for the Mashiach to come. And in my opinion, it's the return to Eden. And in that return to Eden, there's no AI. You know? No artificial intelligence, no robotics. You know, no manipulation by Facebook and Google. You know, no targeted ads on Google. You know, I was in an article and I had a targeted ad at me on Google search. How did I know it was targeted ad? Because a few days before, I had searched something on the internet that's actually kind of like my fetish. And all of a sudden, 4 days, 5 days later, an ad pops up for something associated with that fetish. Now, how could that be? I mean, I had a targeted ad. It would never come to you because you have a different fetish. They targeted the ads at me when I'm reading an article. So I'm getting viewed here. I mean, they're influencing me. And that's how they make their money. And that's it. So this, in my opinion, you're wasting your time here. If you enjoy it, okay, but enjoyment's kind of a waste of time too. Tick-tock, click, click, you know, click, click. You're gonna soon die. And somebody else will take your place at the line, at the checkout line, with your bag of potato chips and your peanut butter. You know, and somebody else will get an extra ounce of the olive oil, the extra virgin olive oil from Italy, which is a phony. What can I say? I bought a container of coffee, dry coffee. It was half filled, a big container, half. Half the coffee. So I devoted my life to find the answer. I found the answer. I expressed the answer. And like in every other field, if you admit it to yourself, it's not worth it. I can guarantee you, Nietzsche felt the same way. At the end, I can guarantee you they all feel the same way. You know, Schopenhauer, you know. Jung with that phony pipe, you know. So, as you know, this is a rant. I hope you didn't listen to it. And for some reason, this is what I do now. I don't think that I don't know the reason I do it. But the reason has something to do with a disappointment. You know? Because it does. A disappointment that the societal keeps me from the real.